There are two types of people in the world. Those who work for money and those who make money work for them. Same financial opportunities, same economic conditions, completely opposite results. The difference isn't what they do with money. It's how they think about money. And that difference happens in a specific part of the brain that you can train, strengthen, and optimize. Right now, as you listen to this, your brain is processing financial information in a way that's either building wealth or destroying it. And here's the truth that the financial industry doesn't want you to know. Your financial success has almost nothing to do with how much money you make, how good you are at budgeting, or even how smart you are with investments. It has everything to do with something called money intelligence. And money intelligence is determined by how your brain is wired to perceive, process, and respond to financial information. This isn't about positive thinking. This isn't about the law of attraction. This is about neuroscience. This is about understanding the specific neural pathways that wealthy people have developed and learning how to develop those same pathways in your own brain, because here's the extraordinary truth that most people never discover. The difference between financial struggle and financial abundance isn't about circumstances, it's about brain wiring. And brain wiring can be changed. Let me prove it to you with a simple example. Take two people with identical incomes, same job, same salary, same city, same cost of living. 5 years later, one of them has built substantial wealth emergency fund, investments, multiple income streams, financial freedom. The other is living paycheck to paycheck, drowning in debt, constantly stressed about money. What's the difference? Most people would say discipline, or financial knowledge, or maybe luck. But neuroscientists who study wealth creation have discovered something far more fundamental. The difference is in how their brains process financial decisions. When the wealthy person thinks about money, their brain activates the prefrontal cortex, the strategic planning center, the long-term thinking region, the area responsible for delayed gratification and future orientation. When the struggling person thinks about money, their brain activates the amygdala, the fear center, the survival region, the area responsible for immediate threats and short-term reactions, same financial information, completely different neural processing, completely different results. This isn't a character flaw. This isn't a moral failing. This is programming. And just like any other program, it can be rewritten. The question is, are you ready to rewrite yours? Because by the time you finish this audiobook, you're going to understand exactly why your current financial programming is keeping you stuck. More importantly, you're going to have the exact framework that wealthy people use to rewire their money brains for abundance, growth, and financial freedom. This is the money intelligence that separates the top 1% from everyone else. The money intelligence gap that nobody talks about. Let's start with a brutal truth that most financial experts won't tell you. The reason you're struggling financially has nothing to do with not knowing what to do. You already know what to do. Save more than you spend. Invest for the long term. Build multiple income streams. Avoid bad debt. Everyone knows this. Yet 90% of people never achieve financial freedom. Why? Because knowing what to do and actually doing it are controlled by completely different parts of your brain. And for most people, the part that controls knowing is completely disconnected from the part that controls doing. This is the money intelligence gap, and it's costing you everything. Here's how it works. When you read an article about investing or listen to a podcast about building wealth, that information gets stored in your neocortex, the rational, logical part of your brain. You understand the concepts. You agree with the strategies. You genuinely intend to implement them. But when it comes time to make an actual financial decision, a completely different part of your brain takes over. The limbic system, your emotional brain, the part that's been programmed by every financial experience you've ever had, every message about money you absorbed as a child, every fear and anxiety and limiting belief that's been reinforced over years and decades. And here's the critical part. The limbic system is faster and stronger than your rational brain. It makes decisions before your conscious mind even knows a decision is being made. This is why you can listen to a brilliant podcast about investing in the morning and then blow money on impulse purchases in the afternoon. This is why you can understand intellectually that you need to save more, but somehow never have anything left to save at the end of the month. This is why you can know that starting a business could create financial freedom, but never actually take action on it. Your rational brain knows, but your emotional brain controls. Wealthy people have solved this problem. They've bridged the money intelligence gap. They've trained their emotional brains to support their financial goals instead of sabotaging them. And they've done this by understanding and applying specific principles of neuroscience that most people never learn. The three brain systems that control your financial destiny. To understand money intelligence, you need to understand that you don't actually have one brain. You have three, and each of these three brain systems processes money completely differently. The way these three systems interact determines whether you build wealth or stay broke. The first brain system is your reptilian brain, the oldest part of your brain, evolutionarily speaking. This is the survival brain. Its only concern is keeping you alive right now, in this moment. When it comes to money, the reptilian brain has one priority: immediate survival. Do I have enough resources to survive today? If yes, conserve energy. If no, panic. This is the part of your brain that creates financial anxiety. That makes you feel unsafe when your bank account is low. That triggers stress responses when bills are due. That makes you want to hoard money instead of investing it. The reptilian brain doesn't understand wealth building. It only understands survival. And for most people, this brain system is running the financial show. The second brain system is your mammalian brain, also called the limbic system. This is your emotional brain. It's concerned with feelings, relationships, and social status. When it comes to money, the mammalian brain cares about how money makes you feel and what it says about your social position. This is the part of your brain that wants to buy things to feel better, that compares your financial situation to others, that makes spending decisions based on emotion rather than strategy, that creates the need to keep up with the Joneses. This brain system is incredibly powerful because emotions are more intense than logic. When your mammalian brain wants something, it can override your rational thinking in an instant. This is why people make terrible financial decisions when they're emotional. This is why retail therapy exists. This is why people buy things they can't afford to impress people they don't like. The third brain system is your neocortex, your rational, thinking brain. This is the newest part of your brain evolutionarily. It's capable of logic, planning, strategy, and long-term thinking. When it comes to money, the neocortex can understand compound interest, evaluate investment opportunities, create financial plans, and make strategic decisions. This is the part of your brain that reads financial books and understands wealth-building principles. Here's the problem. These three brain systems don't work together by default. In most people, they're in constant conflict. Your reptilian brain wants safety and hoarding. Your mammalian brain wants emotional satisfaction and status. Your neocortex wants long-term strategy and wealth building. They're all pulling in different directions, and whoever's pulling hardest at any given moment wins. In wealthy people, these three brain systems work together. They've trained their brains so that all three systems support wealth building instead of sabotaging it. Their reptilian brain feels safe with strategic risk-taking. Their mammalian brain gets emotional satisfaction from wealth-building activities. Their neocortex provides the strategy and planning. All three systems align toward the same goal. This is money intelligence, and this is what you're going to learn to develop. The scarcity program that's running your financial life. Now let's talk about why your brain is wired the way it is, because understanding your current programming is the first step to changing it. For most people, their financial programming was installed during childhood, and it's been running automatically ever since, creating the same financial results over and over again. Here's what happened. From the time you were born until about age 7, your brain was in a highly suggestible state. You were essentially a recording device, absorbing every message, every experience, every belief about money from the environment around you. You weren't evaluating these messages. You weren't deciding whether they were true or useful. You were simply recording them as absolute truth. If your parents argued about money, you recorded that money causes conflict. If you heard phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "We can't afford that," you recorded that money is scarce. If you saw your parents stressed about bills, you recorded that money creates anxiety. If you experienced poverty or financial instability, you recorded that life is financially dangerous. These recordings became your subconscious financial programming. They installed what psychologists call your money script, the automatic set of beliefs and behaviors that run your financial life without your conscious awareness. And here's the critical part. For most people, that money script is based on scarcity, fear, and limitation. The scarcity program tells your brain that there's never enough, that money is hard to get and easy to lose, that wealthy people are lucky or dishonest, that you have to work incredibly hard for every dollar. That saving is about sacrifice and deprivation. That investing is risky and dangerous. That financial security is always uncertain. When this program is running, your brain interprets every financial situation through a scarcity filter. You see limitations instead of opportunities. You focus on what you don't have instead of what you could create. You make decisions based on fear instead of strategy. You prioritize short-term survival over long-term wealth building. And here's what makes this so insidious. The scarcity program is self-reinforcing. Because you're focused on scarcity, you make fear-based decisions. And because you make fear-based decisions, you create scarcity in your life. Because you experience scarcity, your brain finds more evidence that money is scarce. The program strengthens itself every single day. This is why people stay stuck in the same financial situation for years or decades. They're not lazy. They're not stupid. They're not unlucky. They're running a scarcity program that creates scarcity results. And until they rewrite that program, nothing changes. But wealthy people are running a completely different program, the abundance program. And that program creates completely different results. The abundance program that creates wealth automatically. Wealthy people's brains process money through an abundance filter instead of a scarcity filter. This doesn't mean they're naive or unrealistic. It means they've programmed their brains to see opportunities where others see obstacles, to see possibilities where others see limitations, to see wealth-building potential where others see risk. The abundance program is based on several core beliefs that wealthy people have integrated at a subconscious level. These aren't conscious affirmations they repeat. These are deep neural programs that automatically shape how they perceive and respond to financial information. First, wealthy people's brains believe that money is abundant and accessible. Not that it's easy to acquire, but that opportunities to create value and generate income exist everywhere. This belief causes their brains to constantly scan for opportunities instead of threats. They see potential income streams where others see regular experiences. They see business opportunities where others see problems. They see investment potential where others see risk. Second, wealthy people's brains believe that wealth is created, not taken. They don't see money as a finite resource that must be competed for. They see it as something that can be generated by creating value. This fundamentally changes their relationship with money. Instead of trying to get money from others, they focus on creating so much value that money flows to them naturally. Third, wealthy people's brains believe that they're capable of learning whatever they need to learn to achieve financial success. They don't see themselves as limited by their current knowledge or skills. They see themselves as capable of developing new capabilities. This creates a growth-oriented approach to wealth building instead of a fixed, limited approach. Fourth, wealthy people's brains believe that taking calculated risks is safer than playing it safe. This sounds counterintuitive, but it's crucial. They understand that the biggest risk is not taking risks, that inflation and opportunity cost make safety dangerous, that strategic risk-taking, when done intelligently, is actually the safest long-term strategy. Fifth, wealthy people's brains believe that money is a tool, not a goal. They don't worship money or fear it. They see it as a resource that can be deployed strategically to create more resources. This creates a completely different emotional relationship with money. No anxiety, no attachment, just strategic thinking. These beliefs aren't conscious thoughts. They're subconscious programs that run automatically, shaping every financial decision. And here's what most people don't understand. These programs can be installed in anyone's brain through specific reprogramming techniques. You're not stuck with your current money programming. You can rewrite it. The delayed gratification circuit that predicts wealth. One of the most important discoveries in the neuroscience of wealth is the role of delayed gratification. Researchers have found that the ability to delay gratification, the ability to choose a larger reward later over a smaller reward now, is one of the strongest predictors of financial success, and this ability is determined by the strength of specific neural circuits in your brain. The most famous research on this is the marshmallow test. Researchers gave children a choice. You can have one marshmallow now, or if you wait 15 minutes, you can have 2 marshmallows. Some children ate the marshmallow immediately. Others used various strategies to wait and get 2 marshmallows. Researchers then followed these children for decades. The results were stunning. The children who could delay gratification went on to have significantly better financial outcomes as adults. Higher incomes, more savings, better credit scores, less debt, more wealth accumulation. The ability to delay gratification at age 4 predicted financial success 40 years later. But here's what's crucial for you to understand. The ability to delay gratification isn't fixed. It's not a personality trait you're born with. It's determined by the strength of neural circuits in your prefrontal cortex. And neural circuits can be strengthened through training, just like muscles can be strengthened through exercise. Wealthy people have strong delayed gratification circuits. When they're faced with a choice between immediate pleasure and long-term gain, their brains automatically value the long-term gain more highly. This isn't willpower. This isn't discipline. This is neural wiring. Their brains literally experience more pleasure from thinking about future rewards than from experiencing immediate rewards. Poor people have weak delayed gratification circuits. When faced with the same choice, their brains automatically value immediate pleasure more highly. They intend to choose the long-term option. They know intellectually that it's better. But their neural wiring overrides their conscious intentions. The immediate option feels more compelling. This is why wealthy people find it easy to invest instead of spending, to save instead of consuming, to build assets instead of buying liabilities. Their delayed gratification circuits make these choices feel natural and rewarding. This is why poor people struggle with the same behaviors. Their weak delayed gratification circuits make these choices feel like painful sacrifice. But here's the empowering truth. You can strengthen your delayed gratification circuits through specific mental exercises. Every time you choose a long-term reward over an immediate one, you're building neural pathways. Every time you resist an impulse purchase, you're strengthening your prefrontal cortex. Every time you invest Instead of spending, you're rewiring your brain for wealth. The more you make these choices, the easier they become. Not because you're developing willpower, but because you're literally changing your neural architecture. You're building a wealthy person's brain. And once that wiring is in place, wealth-building behaviors become automatic. The financial thermostat that keeps you stuck. Now let's talk about one of the most important concepts in money intelligence, your financial thermostat. This is a subconscious setting in your brain that determines how much wealth you're comfortable having. And until you change this setting, you'll unconsciously sabotage any attempts to exceed it. Here's how it works. Through your experiences growing up, your brain developed a sense of what level of wealth is normal for someone like you. This became your financial comfort zone. Maybe it's living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe it's having a few $1,000s in savings. Maybe it's making $50,000 a year. Whatever it is, your brain treats this level as your financial thermostat setting. When your wealth rises above this setting, your brain experiences discomfort. Not conscious discomfort necessarily, but a subtle sense that something's wrong, that you're exceeding your station, that this level of wealth isn't for people like you, and your brain, without your conscious awareness, will create behaviors that bring you back down to your thermostat setting. This is why lottery winners often end up broke. Their financial thermostat is set for poverty or middle-class living. When they suddenly have millions, their brains can't handle it. It feels wrong. It creates unconscious anxiety. So they make terrible financial decisions, self-sabotage, and eventually return to their thermostat setting. This is why people who get raises often find that they're still living paycheck to paycheck, just at a higher income level. Their expenses rise to match their income because their financial thermostat hasn't changed. They're still comfortable with zero savings, just at a higher income bracket. This is why people who build businesses often hit a ceiling they can't seem to break through. Their revenue grows to a certain point, then plateaus. Not because they've reached market saturation or competitive limitations, but because they've reached their financial thermostat setting. Their brain creates subtle sabotage behaviors that prevent further growth. The financial thermostat is incredibly powerful because it operates entirely at a subconscious level. You can't overcome it with conscious effort or willpower. You can work incredibly hard, follow perfect financial strategies, and make smart decisions. And your brain will still find ways to keep you at your thermostat setting. Wealthy people have high financial thermostats. They're comfortable with wealth. They expect it. It feels normal to them. When they have money, their brains don't trigger anxiety or sabotage behaviors. When they lose money, their brains automatically create behaviors that rebuild wealth, because anything less than their thermostat setting feels wrong. The key to building lasting wealth isn't just making more money or following better strategies. It's raising your financial thermostat. It's reprogramming your brain to be comfortable with higher levels of wealth. And there are specific techniques for doing this that you're going to learn. The risk perception paradox that determines wealth. One of the most fascinating aspects of money intelligence is how wealthy people and poor people perceive risk completely differently. And this difference in risk perception creates dramatically different financial outcomes. What wealthy people see as safe, poor people see as risky. What poor people see as safe, wealthy people see as risky. Poor people's brains are programmed to see safety in steady paychecks, secure employment, and predictable income. They see risk in starting businesses, investing in markets, and pursuing variable income opportunities. This programming makes sense from a survival perspective. Predictable income feels safe because you know you can pay rent and buy food. But wealthy people's brains are programmed completely differently. They see safety in diversified income streams, assets that generate passive income, and skills that create value in any market. They see risk in depending on one employer, trading time for money, and having no assets that work for them. This programming creates wealth because it drives behaviors that build financial independence. The paradox is this: what feels safe in the short term is actually risky in the long term. And what feels risky in the short term is actually safe in the long term. A steady paycheck feels safe, but if your employer eliminates your position, your income goes to zero instantly. Starting a business feels risky, but if you build it successfully, you have an asset that generates income regardless of any single client or customer. Saving money in a bank account feels safe, but inflation is slowly destroying its value. Investing in assets feels risky, but historically, assets appreciate faster than inflation, actually preserving and growing wealth. Having one source of income feels manageable, but it's incredibly vulnerable. Having multiple income streams feels complicated, but it's incredibly resilient. Wealthy people have trained their brains to perceive risk accurately over long time horizons. They evaluate risk based on 10-year outcomes, not 10-day feelings. This completely changes their financial decision-making. They're willing to accept short-term uncertainty for long-term security. They're willing to invest time and resources in building assets, even though the returns aren't immediate. Poor people's brains evaluate risk based on short-term feelings and immediate security. This keeps them trapped in situations that feel safe but are actually risky over time. They avoid opportunities that feel uncomfortable but would build wealth. They make decisions that preserve short-term stability but destroy long-term security. The key to wealth building is retraining your brain's risk perception system. You need to teach your limbic system that what feels risky is actually safe, and what feels safe is actually risky. This happens through education, experience, and specific mental reprogramming techniques. The abundance. Mindset versus scarcity mindset in action. Let me give you a concrete example of how these different brain programs play out in real life. Imagine two people, both making $50,000 a year, both with $5,000 saved. They're presented with an opportunity to invest in learning a high-value skill that could double their income, but it costs $3,000. Person A running a scarcity program thinks, I can't afford to lose $3,000. That's more than half my savings. What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if something goes wrong and I need that money? I should keep it in my savings account where it's safe. Maybe someday when I have more money, I'll invest in learning. But not now. It's too risky. Person B, running an abundance program, thinks, this could double my income. If I invest $3,000 and gain skills that generate an extra $50,000 per year, that's a 1,500% return on investment over 5 years. Even if it only generates an extra $10,000 per year, it's still worth it. The real risk is not investing. What's the cost of not developing this skill? How much income will I miss out on over the next 10 years? The riskiest thing I can do is nothing. Same opportunity, same financial situation, completely different neural processing, completely different decisions, and over time, these different decisions create completely different financial outcomes. Person A stays at $50,000 per year. 10 years later, they still have roughly the same income. Adjusted for inflation, they've played it safe. But they've also stayed stuck. Their decision to preserve safety actually created long-term stagnation. Person B invests in the skill, doubles their income over the next few years, and 10 years later is making $200,000 per year. They took what felt like a risk, but that risk created exponential growth that safety never could. This pattern plays out in hundreds of financial decisions over a lifetime. Invest in education or save the money, start a business or keep the secure job, buy an asset or buy a liability, take the commission-based role with unlimited upside or the salary role with limited upside. Each decision point is influenced by your brain's programming, and over time, these decisions compound into either wealth or stagnation. The money intelligence. Transformation that changes everything. So now you understand the problem. Your current financial results are determined by your money intelligence, which is determined by your neural programming, which was installed mostly during childhood, based on the financial environment you grew up in. You're running programs that create your current financial results. And until you change those programs, your results won't change, regardless of how hard you work or how much financial information you consume. But here's the extraordinary news. You can change these programs. You can rewire your brain for wealth. You can develop the same neural patterns that wealthy people have. And when you do, wealth building becomes natural, automatic, and inevitable. Not because you're working harder or learning more financial strategies, but because your brain is wired to think like a wealthy person. This transformation happens through specific techniques that leverage neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new neural connections and pathways throughout life. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, every decision you make is reinforcing certain neural pathways while weakening others. Most people are reinforcing poverty pathways without even realizing it, but you can consciously choose to reinforce wealth pathways instead. The transformation has 3 phases. First, awareness. You need to become conscious of your current money programming. What beliefs do you hold about money? What emotions do you experience around financial decisions? What patterns keep repeating in your financial life? This awareness is the foundation of change. Second, interruption. You need to interrupt your automatic money patterns. When your scarcity programming tries to run, you catch it and stop it. When your brain tries to make a fear-based financial decision, you pause and choose differently. This interruption weakens the old neural pathways. Third, installation. You deliberately install new money programming through specific mental exercises, visualization techniques, and behavioral practices. You strengthen the neural pathways associated with abundance, strategic thinking, and wealth building. Over time, these new pathways become stronger than the old ones, and they become your new automatic programming. This isn't quick. This isn't easy. Neural reprogramming takes consistent practice over weeks and months, but it works, and the results are permanent. Once you've rewired your money brain, you don't have to maintain it through constant effort. The new programming runs automatically, creating wealth-building behaviors without conscious effort. This is what you're going to learn in this audiobook, not just financial strategies or investment advice. The actual neuroscience-based techniques for reprogramming your money brain, the specific mental exercises that strengthen your delayed gratification circuits, the visualization practices that raise your financial thermostat, the belief restructuring methods that transform scarcity programming into abundance programming. By the time you finish, you won't just know more about money. You'll think differently about money. Your brain will process financial information the way wealthy people's brains process it. And when that happens, wealth building becomes inevitable. Are you ready to develop money intelligence? Are you ready to rewire your brain for wealth? Because everything you want financially is waiting on the other side of this transformation. The only question is whether you're willing to do the neural reprogramming work that makes it possible. Your financial future isn't determined by your current circumstances. It's determined by your money intelligence. And money intelligence can be developed, starting right now. Now that you understand why your current money programming exists and how it's controlling your financial results, let's dive into the actual neural architecture of wealth. Because wealth isn't just about having money. Wealth is a specific pattern of neural connections in your brain that automatically generates wealth-building behaviors. And once you understand this architecture, you can deliberately construct it in your own brain. Neuroscientists who study wealthy individuals have identified 7 key neural circuits that are consistently stronger in wealthy people compared to average earners. These circuits work together to create what we call the wealth operating system. And the extraordinary thing is that each of these circuits can be strengthened through specific mental exercises, just like you can strengthen muscles through specific physical exercises. The first circuit is the opportunity recognition circuit. This involves connections between your visual cortex, your prefrontal cortex, and your reward centers. In wealthy people, this circuit is highly developed. When they encounter any situation, their brains automatically scan for opportunities. They see potential where others see ordinary circumstances. They notice gaps in the market that others overlook. They recognize value creation possibilities that others miss. This isn't because they're smarter or more observant. It's because their brains have been trained to look for opportunities. And every time you consciously practice looking for opportunities, In everyday situations, you're strengthening this circuit. Over time, opportunity recognition becomes automatic. Your brain starts doing it without conscious effort. The second circuit is the value creation circuit. This involves connections between your creative centers, your strategic planning regions, and your execution networks. Wealthy people's brains are wired to constantly think about creating value, not taking value, not extracting value, creating value. This is a fundamental distinction that changes everything. When most people think about making money, they think about getting money from others, getting a paycheck from an employer, making a sale to a customer, earning a return from an investment. This is extraction thinking. Wealthy people think about creating so much value that money flows to them as a natural consequence. This is creation thinking, and creation thinking activates completely different neural networks than extraction thinking. The third circuit is the strategic risk assessment circuit. This involves connections between your analytical centers, your emotional regulation systems, and your decision-making networks. As we discussed earlier, wealthy people perceive risk differently than poor people. But this isn't just a belief difference. It's a neural wiring difference. In wealthy people's brains, the pathways that connect risk perception to emotional response are different. When they evaluate a risky opportunity, they don't get the same fear response that most people get. Instead, they get an analytical response. Their brains automatically calculate probabilities, evaluate potential outcomes, and assess risk to reward ratios without being hijacked by emotional fear. The fourth circuit is the delayed gratification circuit. We discussed this earlier, but it's worth emphasizing how central it is to wealth building. This circuit involves connections between your prefrontal cortex and your limbic system. Strong connections mean you can easily choose long-term rewards over immediate gratification. Weak connections mean you struggle with this constantly. Every financial decision you make is either strengthening or weakening this circuit. Every time you invest instead of spending, save instead of consuming, or build instead of buying, you're strengthening it. Every time you choose the opposite, you're weakening it. Your financial future is quite literally being wired into your brain through your daily decisions. The fifth circuit is the abundance perception circuit. This involves connections throughout your entire brain that filter how you perceive financial reality. In people with strong abundance circuits, their brains automatically notice opportunities, resources, and possibilities. In people with weak abundance circuits, their brains automatically notice limitations, obstacles, and problems. This isn't positive thinking. This is selective attention. Your brain can only process a tiny fraction of the information available to it at any moment. It has to filter. And the filtering system is determined by your neural wiring. If your abundance circuit is strong, you literally see a different financial reality than someone whose scarcity circuit is strong. Same world, different perception, different results. The sixth circuit is the leverage thinking circuit. This involves connections between your strategic planning centers and your resource utilization networks. Wealthy people's brains are constantly thinking about leverage. How can I get more result from the same effort? How can I make my resources work harder? How can I multiply my impact without multiplying my time investment? This type of thinking doesn't come naturally to most people because it requires abstract strategic thinking that engages advanced prefrontal cortex functions, but it can be developed through practice. And once it's developed, it completely transforms your approach to wealth building. The seventh circuit is the financial resilience circuit. This involves connections between your stress response systems and your problem-solving networks. Wealthy people's brains respond to financial setbacks differently than poor people's brains. When they lose money or face financial challenges, their brains don't go into panic mode. They go into solution mode. This resilience isn't about toughness or discipline. It's about neural wiring. Their brains have learned through experience that financial problems are solvable, that setbacks are temporary, that challenges are opportunities in disguise, and because their brains believe this at a deep neural level, they automatically respond to problems with strategic thinking instead of emotional panic. These 7 circuits work together to create the wealth operating system. And the beautiful thing is that you can strengthen each of these circuits through deliberate practice. The rest of this audiobook is going to give you specific techniques for doing exactly that. Chapter 2. Reprogramming your financial thermostat. Let's start with one of the most powerful transformations you can make. Raising your financial thermostat. Remember, this is the subconscious setting that determines how much wealth you're comfortable having. And until you raise this setting, you'll unconsciously sabotage any attempts to exceed it. The financial thermostat is maintained by a network of beliefs, emotions, and self-concept images stored in your subconscious mind. To change it, you need to work at the subconscious level, not just the conscious level. Conscious affirmations and positive thinking alone won't work because your subconscious is stronger than your conscious mind. The first technique for raising your financial thermostat is called financial identity visualization. This leverages your brain's inability to distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real experiences. When you vividly imagine something, your brain creates neural pathways as if you actually experienced it. Here's how to practice it. Every day, spend 10 to 15 minutes in a relaxed state, visualizing yourself as the wealthy version of yourself. Not fantasizing about having money, actually embodying the identity of a wealthy person. See through their eyes. Feel their emotions. Think their thoughts. Make their decisions. What does wealthy you think about in the morning? How do they carry themselves? How do they make financial decisions? How do they respond to opportunities? How do they handle money? Get so detailed and vivid that your subconscious mind starts to believe this is who you actually are. The key is consistency. Your subconscious mind learns through repetition. One visualization session won't change anything, but daily practice over weeks and months literally rewires your self-concept. Your brain starts to believe that this wealthy identity is your normal state. And when that happens, Your financial thermostat automatically rises to match your new identity. The second technique is called evidence collection. Your subconscious mind maintains your financial thermostat based on the evidence it has about who you are and what you're capable of. Most people have mountains of evidence for financial struggle and very little evidence for financial success. You need to change the evidence balance. Start keeping a wealth evidence journal. Every single day, record evidence that you're becoming wealthy, no matter how small. Made a smart financial decision? Write it down. Learn something about investing? Evidence. Resisted an impulse purchase? Evidence. Generated income from a side project? Evidence. Saved money? Evidence. Your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between big evidence and small evidence. It just accumulates evidence. And as you build up more and more evidence of wealth-building behaviors, your subconscious starts to believe that you're a wealthy person. Your financial thermostat rises to match the evidence. The third technique is called graduated exposure. This is based on the principle that your comfort zone expands through gradual exposure to what's currently outside it. You don't jump from a $50,000 thermostat to $1 million thermostat overnight. You gradually expose yourself to higher levels of wealth until they feel normal. Start by setting a financial goal that's outside your current comfort zone, but not so far outside that it feels impossible. Maybe it's having $10,000 in savings when you currently have none. Maybe it's earning an extra $1,000 per month. Maybe it's making your first investment, something that stretches you but feels achievable. When you achieve that goal, don't immediately set a huge new goal. Let yourself adjust to this new level. Let your brain normalize it. Let it become your new thermostat setting. Then set the next graduated goal. Each achievement expands your comfort zone. Each expansion raises your thermostat. Progress is gradual but permanent. The fourth technique is called discomfort reframing. As your wealth grows beyond your current thermostat setting, you're going to experience discomfort. This is your brain signaling that something's wrong, that you're exceeding your programming. Most people respond to this discomfort by self-sabotaging back to their comfort zone. Instead, you need to reframe the discomfort. When you feel uncomfortable about having more money, earning more income, or reaching a higher financial level, recognize that feeling for what it is. It's your old programming trying to pull you back. It's not truth. It's just old wiring. Say to yourself, this discomfort means I'm growing. This means I'm exceeding my old limitations. This means my thermostat is rising. The discomfort is temporary. My new level will soon feel normal. By reframing the discomfort, you prevent it from triggering sabotage behaviors. You allow your thermostat to rise permanently. The fifth technique is called wealth association. Your subconscious mind is heavily influenced by your social environment. If everyone around you has a low financial thermostat, their energy will constantly pull yours down. If you associate with people who have high financial thermostats, their energy will pull yours up. Start deliberately spending time with people who have higher financial thermostats than you. This doesn't mean abandoning your current friends. It means expanding your social circle to include people who are comfortable with higher levels of wealth. Their casual conversations about money, their attitudes toward risk, their comfort with abundance, will all influence your subconscious programming. You can do this through business networking events, masterminds, online communities, or mentorship relationships. The key is regular exposure. The more time you spend in environments where higher wealth levels are normal, the more your brain accepts those levels as possible for you. These 5 techniques work together to systematically raise your financial thermostat. This isn't a quick fix. Thermostat reprogramming takes months of consistent practice, but it's permanent. Once your thermostat is raised, it stays raised. And once it's raised, wealth accumulation becomes natural and automatic, because you're no longer fighting against your own subconscious programming. Chapter 3. Strengthening your delayed gratification circuits. Now let's work on one of the most important predictors of wealth, your delayed gratification circuits. Remember, these are the neural pathways that allow you to choose long-term rewards over immediate satisfaction. The stronger these circuits, the easier wealth building becomes. The beauty of neural circuits is that they work like muscles. Use them, and they get stronger. Don't use them, and they atrophy. Every time you practice delayed gratification, you're literally building brain tissue that makes future delayed gratification easier. Every time you choose immediate gratification, you're weakening those circuits. The first exercise for strengthening delayed gratification circuits is called the daily deferral practice. This is simple but incredibly powerful. Every single day, find at least 3 opportunities to practice delayed gratification. These don't have to be financial. Any delayed gratification strengthens the circuit. See a snack you want? Decide to have it in 2 hours instead of now. Want to check social media? Make yourself wait 30 minutes. Tempted to buy something online? Put it in your cart and wait 24 hours before purchasing. Feeling bored and want entertainment? Make yourself do something productive for 30 minutes first. The specific situations don't matter. What matters is the repetition. You're training your brain to be comfortable with waiting. You're building the neural infrastructure that makes delayed gratification feel natural instead of painful. Do this daily for 90 days, and you'll notice that choosing long-term financial gains over immediate spending becomes dramatically easier. The second exercise is called future self-connection. Research shows that people with strong delayed gratification circuits have stronger neural connections to their future selves. They experience their future self as a real person they care about, not an abstract concept. People with weak circuits experience their future self as a stranger they don't care about. Practice building connection with your future self through visualization. Spend time each week having mental conversations with the version of yourself 5 years from now. What is future you grateful for that present you is doing? What does future you wish present you would start doing now? How does future you feel about present you's financial decisions? Make future You feel real and important. Give them a personality. Care about their well-being. When you're making a financial decision, ask yourself, what would future me want me to do? This creates neural connections between your present self and future self. And when those connections are strong, sacrificing present pleasure for future gain feels natural. The third exercise is called celebration delay. Most people celebrate immediately when something good happens. They get a raise, they celebrate by spending. They close a deal, they celebrate by buying something. This wiring trains your brain that the reward for financial success is immediate consumption. Wealthy people delay celebration, not because they're disciplined or stoic, but because delaying celebration strengthens their delayed gratification circuits. When something good happens financially, wait a week before celebrating. Use that week to let the success sink in, to appreciate it, to plan how to leverage it, then celebrate. This pattern trains your brain that good feelings don't require immediate spending, that satisfaction can come from achievement itself. That delayed celebration is actually more enjoyable because you've had time to savor the anticipation over time. This rewiring makes it easier to resist impulse spending and make strategic financial decisions. The fourth exercise is called the time horizon extension. Most people make financial decisions based on very short time horizons, days or weeks. Wealthy people make financial decisions based on long time horizons, years or decades. The longer your time horizon, the easier delayed gratification becomes. Practice extending your time horizon by regularly envisioning your life at different future points. Where will you be in 5 years if you make this decision? 10 years? 20 years? What will your financial situation look like? What opportunities will be available or unavailable based on today's choices? Make this practice specific and emotional. Don't just think about numbers. Think about your actual life, your freedom, your options, your stress levels, your relationships, your health. The more vividly you can imagine long-term consequences, the more your brain weighs them in present decision-making. The fifth exercise is called strategic deprivation. This might sound counterintuitive, but deliberately practicing temporary deprivation strengthens your delayed gratification circuits dramatically. Pick one area where you typically indulge immediately and practice going without for a defined period. Maybe you go without buying coffee out for a month, making it at home instead. Maybe you don't buy any new clothes for 3 months. Maybe you cook all your meals instead of eating out for 2 months. The specific area doesn't matter. What matters is practicing voluntary deprivation. This isn't about punishment or suffering. It's about training your brain that you can be perfectly happy without immediate gratification, that you have more control than you thought, that choosing to wait strengthens you rather than depriving you. After the period ends, you'll notice that your relationship with that type of spending has permanently changed. You have more power over it. These 5 exercises work together to build incredibly strong, delayed gratification circuits. Practice them consistently for 3 to 6 months, and you'll notice a dramatic shift. Saving will feel easier. Investing will feel more natural. Resisting impulse purchases will require less willpower. You're not developing discipline. You're rebuilding your brain's neural architecture. Chapter 4. Installing the Abundance Operating System. Now let's work on replacing your scarcity programming with abundance programming. This is one of the most transformative changes you can make because it affects how you perceive and respond to every financial situation. Remember, you're not trying to ignore reality or pretend problems don't exist. You're training your brain to see opportunities and possibilities that your scarcity programming currently filters out. The abundance operating system consists of 7 core beliefs that need to be installed at a subconscious level. These beliefs change how your brain processes financial information. They're not conscious affirmations. They're deep neural programs that automatically shape your perceptions and responses. The first core belief is this: money is abundant and accessible. Not easy to get, but available through value creation. Most people believe money is scarce and hard to get. This belief causes their brains to be constantly in scarcity mode, focused on protecting what they have rather than creating more. To install the abundance belief, you need to train your brain to notice evidence of abundance. Every day for 90 days, write down 10 examples of abundance you notice that day. Money being exchanged freely, value being created, opportunities existing, people prospering, wealth being built. Your brain will start to look for this evidence automatically. And what your brain looks for, it finds. The second core belief is, I create wealth through providing value. Most people believe wealth comes from luck, inheritance, exploitation, or being in the right place at the right time. This belief makes them passive. They wait for opportunities to come to them. They hope for lucky breaks. The abundance belief is that you actively create wealth by creating value. Every day, ask yourself, what value did I create today? How did I make someone's life better? What problem did I solve? What need did I meet? Track your value creation. The more you focus on creating value, the more your brain accepts that wealth is something you generate, not something you wait to receive. The third core belief is, challenges are opportunities for growth. Most people see financial challenges as threats to be avoided. This causes them to play it safe, stay small, and miss opportunities. The abundance belief is that challenges are how you develop new capabilities that create wealth. Reframe every financial challenge you encounter as a growth opportunity. Lost a client? Opportunity to improve your service or find better clients. Investment declined? Opportunity to learn what you missed and make better decisions. Income dropped? Opportunity to develop new income streams. Train your brain to automatically look for the growth opportunity in every challenge. The fourth core belief is, calculated risk is safer than playing it safe. As we discussed, poor people see safety in avoiding risk. Wealthy people see safety in intelligent risk-taking. To install this belief, start taking small, calculated risks and documenting the results. Invest a small amount you can afford to lose. Start a side project with limited downside. Try a new income-generating activity. Each time you take a calculated risk and survive or succeed, you're building neural evidence that risk-taking is safe. Your brain learns through experience, not through intellectual understanding. The fifth core belief is, there are multiple paths to wealth. Most people believe there's only one way to build wealth, usually the path their parents told them about: get a degree, get a job, work hard, save money. If that path doesn't work for them, they feel stuck. The abundance belief is that infinite paths to wealth exist. Start studying different wealth creation paths. Read biographies of wealthy people from different backgrounds. Learn about different business models. Explore different investment strategies. The more paths you're aware of, the more your brain accepts that you have options. Options create a sense of abundance. The sixth core belief is, wealth creation is a learnable skill. Most people believe you either have wealth-building ability or you don't. This fixed mindset keeps them from trying. The abundance belief is that wealth creation can be learned, just like any other skill. And skills improve with practice. Approach wealth building with a learning mindset. Every financial decision is a learning opportunity. Every mistake is data. Every success is evidence of growing capability. Keep a learning journal where you record what you're learning about wealth creation. Your brain will start to see yourself as someone who's constantly improving their wealth-building skills. The seventh core belief is, I deserve and can handle wealth. Many people have subconscious beliefs that they don't deserve wealth or couldn't handle it responsibly. These beliefs create self-sabotage. The abundance belief is that wealth is available to anyone who creates enough value, and that you're capable of managing wealth responsibly. Work on your deservingness beliefs through daily affirmations combined with evidence collection. Each day, affirm that you deserve wealth because of the value you create. Then record evidence of responsible financial decisions you made. Over time, your subconscious accepts that you both deserve and can handle wealth. These 7 beliefs form the foundation of the abundance operating system. Installing them requires daily practice over several months. You're not just thinking different thoughts. You're literally rewiring the neural networks that filter your perception of financial reality. Once installed, these beliefs operate automatically, causing you to see and respond to financial situations in ways that naturally create wealth. Chapter 5. The Wealthy Mindset. Daily Practice. Now let's talk about how to integrate everything you're learning into a daily practice that systematically rewires your money brain. Because knowledge without implementation is useless. You need a structured daily routine that builds new neural pathways through repetition and consistency. The Wealthy Mindset daily practice consists of 6 components that take about 30 to 40 minutes total. This is your daily investment in rebuilding your money brain. And like any investment, the returns compound over time. Miss a few days and you lose momentum. Practice consistently for 90 days, and you create permanent neural changes. The first component is the morning money meditation. This is a 10-minute practice you do first thing in the morning before checking email or looking at your phone. Find a quiet space, sit comfortably, and close your eyes. Spend the first 2 minutes doing deep breathing to calm your nervous system and get into a receptive state. Then spend 8 minutes visualizing your financial goals as already achieved. See yourself living the life that your wealth enables. Feel the emotions of financial freedom. Experience what it's like to make decisions without financial constraints. Imagine looking at your bank account and feeling peace instead of anxiety. Make it vivid. Make it emotional. Make it real. This isn't just positive thinking. You're using your brain's visualization circuits to create neural pathways associated with wealth. Your brain doesn't distinguish between vivid imagination and reality. Every morning that you visualize wealth, you're strengthening the neural networks that create wealth building behaviors. The second component is the Abundance Evidence Journal. This is a 5-minute practice where you record evidence of abundance from the previous day. What opportunities did you notice? What value did you create? What financial progress did you make? What abundance did you observe in the world around you? The key is quantity over quality. Write down as many examples as possible, even small ones. Saw a busy restaurant? Evidence that people have money to spend. Friend got a raise? Evidence that income growth is possible. Learned something about investing? Evidence that you're building wealth, building capabilities. You're training your brain to look for abundance instead of scarcity. The third component is the Financial Decision Review. This is a 5-minute practice where you review the financial decisions you made yesterday, not to judge yourself, but to learn. What decisions align with your wealth-building goals? What decisions didn't? What triggered poor decisions? What helped you make good decisions? This practice builds self-awareness about your financial patterns. Most people make financial decisions unconsciously, driven by programming they're not aware of. By reviewing your decisions daily, you become conscious of patterns. And once patterns are conscious, you can change them. The fourth component is the delayed gratification practice. This is the exercise we discussed earlier. Every day, find at least 3 opportunities to practice delayed gratification. These can be financial or non-financial. The key is repetition. You're strengthening neural circuits through daily use. Track your delayed gratification practices in a journal. See how many days in a row you can maintain the practice. Notice how it gets easier over time. Notice how your relationship with immediate gratification changes. This is your delayed gratification circuit getting stronger. The fifth component is the Wealth Builder Identity Statement. This is a 2-minute practice where you declare your Wealth Builder identity out loud. Stand in front of a mirror and speak your identity statement with conviction. Something like, I am a wealth builder. I create value. I make smart financial decisions. I'm building financial freedom. Money flows to me because of the value I create. I'm becoming wealthier every day. This might feel awkward at first. That's normal. But speaking identity statements out loud, especially in front of a mirror, has a powerful effect on your subconscious mind. You're not trying to convince yourself of something that isn't true. You're declaring the identity you're building, and your brain responds to these declarations by aligning your behaviors with your stated identity. The sixth component is the evening financial review. This is a 5-minute practice before bed where you review your financial day. What value did you create? What wealth-building actions did you take? What did you learn? What are you grateful for financially? What's your plan for tomorrow? End each day by acknowledging your progress. Most people focus only on what they didn't accomplish. Wealthy people focus on what they did accomplish. This creates neural momentum. Your brain likes to continue patterns. If you end each day acknowledging wealth-building progress, your brain wants to continue that progress the next day. These 6 components form your daily money-brain training routine, 30 to 40 minutes per day. Some in the morning, some in the evening. This isn't time wasted. This is the highest leverage activity you can do for your financial future. Because you're not just learning about wealth building. You're literally rebuilding the neural architecture that creates wealth automatically. Most people spend more time scrolling social media than this. They spend more time watching TV. They spend more time complaining about money. But they won't spend 40 minutes training their money brain. This is why they stay stuck financially. You're different. You understand that your financial future is determined by your neural programming, and you're willing to invest time in rebuilding that programming. Chapter 6. Wealth Building Through Value Creation. Now let's shift from mindset to strategy, because mindset without strategy is just positive thinking. You need both. You need the right neural programming and the right approach to wealth building. And the most powerful approach is value creation. Most people think about making money through extraction. How can I get money from my employer? How can I make a sale? How can I earn a return? This extraction thinking creates scarcity and competition. You're trying to take money from others, which means you're competing with everyone else, trying to do the same thing. Wealthy people think about making money through creation. How can I create so much value that money flows to me naturally? This creation thinking creates abundance and opportunity. You're not competing for limited resources. You're creating new resources through value creation. The value creation wealth building model has 5 steps. Master these 5 steps, and wealth building becomes straightforward. Not easy, but straightforward. You have a clear path forward instead of feeling lost and overwhelmed. Step 1 is identifying needs and problems. Wealth is created by solving problems and meeting needs. The bigger the problem you solve, or the more urgent the need you meet, the more wealth you create. So the first step is developing your ability to identify problems and needs in the market. Most people walk through the world oblivious to problems and needs because their brains aren't trained to notice them. Wealthy people's brains are constantly scanning for problems and needs. They hear someone complain and think, "That's a problem I could solve." They notice inefficiency and think, "That's an opportunity to create value." They observe unmet needs and think, "I could build a business around that." Train your brain to notice problems and needs by asking different questions. When you observe any situation, ask yourself, what problems exist here that people would pay to solve? What needs are unmet? What could be better? What are people frustrated by? What inefficiencies exist? Start keeping a problems and needs journal. You'll be amazed at how many opportunities you start noticing. Step 2 is developing valuable skills. Once you've identified problems and needs, You need the skills to solve them. Wealth is created by applying valuable skills to important problems. The more valuable your skills and the more important the problems you can solve, the more wealth you create. Most people stop developing skills after their formal education ends. They coast on the skills they already have. Wealthy people never stop developing skills. They're constantly learning, constantly upgrading, constantly adding to their capability stack. This is why their wealth-building capacity increases over time, while most people stays flat. Make skill development a priority. Invest in courses, books, coaching, and training. Focus on skills that create value in the marketplace. Technical skills that solve specific problems. Communication skills that help you influence and lead. Strategic thinking skills that help you see opportunities. Financial skills that help you deploy resources effectively. Each skill you develop increases your wealth-building capacity. Step 3 is creating and delivering value. This is where you actually solve the problems and meet the needs you've identified using the skills you've developed. You create products, services, solutions, or systems that provide value to others. The more value you create, and the more people you deliver it to, the more wealth flows to you. Most people think small when it comes to value creation. They think about creating value for one employer or a few customers. Wealthy people think about creating value at scale. How can I deliver this value to hundreds or thousands or millions of people? How can I create systems that deliver value without requiring my constant time and energy? This scale thinking is what creates significant wealth. Start by creating value in any way you can. Side projects, freelance work, small businesses, digital products. The specific vehicle doesn't matter initially. What matters is building the muscle of value creation. Then think about how to scale that value creation, how to reach more people, how to deliver more value with less time investment, how to build systems that create value automatically. Step 4 is capturing value through smart pricing and business models. Creating value doesn't automatically result in wealth. You have to capture the value you create through appropriate pricing and business models. Many people create tremendous value, but capture very little of it because they undercharge, use poor business models, or give too much away for free. Study pricing strategies and business models. Understand how successful businesses capture value. Learn to price based on value provided rather than time invested. Explore different business models like subscriptions, licensing, equity, and revenue sharing. The better you understand value capture, the more wealth you build from the value you create. Step 5 is investing captured value to create more value. This is where wealth creation becomes exponential. Instead of consuming all the wealth you create, you reinvest significant portions back into creating more value. You invest in better tools, in more skills, in team members, in marketing, in systems, in assets that generate passive income. Most people consume most of what they earn. They live at or above their income level. This keeps them trapped in linear wealth building. They can only build wealth through their own time and effort. Wealthy people consume a fraction of what they earn and reinvest the rest. This creates exponential wealth building. Their money creates more money. Their systems create value while they sleep. Their assets generate passive income. These 5 steps create a value creation wealth building system. Problems and needs identified, valuable skills developed, value created and delivered, value captured through smart pricing and models, captured value, reinvested to create more value. Follow this system consistently, and wealth building becomes inevitable, not overnight, not without effort, but inevitable. Chapter 7. The Psychology of Financial Freedom. Let's talk about what financial freedom actually is, and why most people never achieve it. Because financial freedom isn't just about having a certain amount of money. It's about having a specific relationship with money that creates peace, options, and control over your time. And that relationship is psychological, not financial. Many people think financial freedom means having millions of dollars, but psychological research shows that's not true. Some people feel financially free with $100,000 in assets. Others feel financially trapped with $10 million. The difference isn't the amount, it's the psychology. Financial freedom has 3 psychological components. First, separation of self-worth from net worth. Most people tie their self-worth to their financial worth. When their bank account is low, they feel worthless. When their income drops, they feel like failures. This creates enormous anxiety and keeps them trapped in dysfunctional relationships with money. Financially free people have completely separated their self-worth from their net worth. They know their value as human beings has nothing to do with their bank account. This doesn't mean they don't care about money. It means money doesn't define them. This separation creates peace and allows them to make rational financial decisions without emotional charge. Practice separating your self-worth from your net worth by regularly affirming your intrinsic value. You are valuable because you exist. Because you're a human being with unique gifts and capabilities. Because you create value in the world. Your bank account is just a number that measures one tiny aspect of your life. It doesn't measure your worth. Keep these separate in your mind. The second component is income security through multiple streams. Psychological research shows that people feel financially secure not when they have a lot of money, but when they have multiple income streams. One large income stream feels vulnerable. Multiple income streams feel secure. This is because your financial well-being doesn't depend on any single source. Most people have one income stream, their job. This creates enormous anxiety because losing that job means losing all income instantly. Wealthy people have 5 or 10 or 20 income streams: employment income, business income, investment income, rental income, royalty income, dividend income. The specific sources don't matter. What matters is diversification. Start building multiple income streams systematically. Don't quit your job to do this. Build additional streams while maintaining your primary income. Side businesses, investments, freelance work, digital products. Each new stream reduces your financial anxiety and increases your sense of security. The goal isn't to get rich from each stream. The goal is diversification. The third component is expense control through conscious spending. Financial freedom isn't about how much you earn. It's about the relationship between what you earn and what you spend. Someone earning $300,000 who spends $300,000 has no financial freedom. Someone earning $50,000 who spends $30,000 has significant financial freedom. Most people's spending expands to match or exceed their income. This is called lifestyle inflation. Every time they earn more, they spend more. They upgrade their housing, their car, their lifestyle. This keeps them trapped on the hedonic treadmill, always earning more, but never getting ahead. Wealthy people maintain conscious control over their spending regardless of income. They decide intentionally what expenses add value to their lives and what expenses don't. They resist lifestyle inflation. They increase their income without proportionally increasing their spending. This creates a growing gap between income and expenses. That gap is financial freedom. Practice conscious spending by tracking every expense for 90 days. Don't try to change anything initially. Just track. You'll become aware of where your money goes. Then analyze each expense category. Does this spending actually improve my life? Does it align with my values? Or is it unconscious habit? Cut ruthless expenses that don't add real value. Keep expenses that genuinely enhance your life. When you combine these three components, you create psychological financial freedom, self-worth separated from net worth, multiple income streams, conscious spending. This combination creates peace with money, creates options, creates control over your time, and it can be achieved at any income level. Most people chase financial freedom by trying to earn more money, but they never achieve it, because earning more doesn't create financial freedom. The right psychology creates financial freedom. Build the right psychology, and financial freedom becomes inevitable. Chapter 8. Advanced Wealth. Acceleration Strategies. Now let's explore some advanced strategies that accelerate wealth building once you have the foundation in place. These strategies leverage principles of compounding, systems thinking, and strategic resource deployment. They're how wealthy people build wealth exponentially instead of linearly. The first strategy is called asymmetric risk-taking. This means looking for opportunities where potential downside is small and capped, but potential upside is large and unlimited. Most people avoid risk entirely, or take symmetric risks where downside and upside are equal. Wealthy people seek asymmetric risks. Starting a business has asymmetric risk. Downside is limited to your time and initial investment. Upside is unlimited. Writing a book has asymmetric risk. Downside is limited to time and effort. Upside is unlimited royalties and opportunities. Creating digital products has asymmetric risk. Downside is limited. Upside scales infinitely. Traditional employment has symmetric risk. You exchange time for money at a fixed rate. Your upside is capped by your salary and hours. Your downside is job loss. It's symmetric. Look for opportunities with asymmetric risk profiles. Limited downside. Unlimited upside. These opportunities accelerate wealth building dramatically. The second strategy is called value arbitrage. This means identifying gaps between what something costs and what it's worth, then capturing that gap. Wealthy people are constantly looking for value arbitrage opportunities. They buy undervalued assets. They acquire underpriced businesses. They invest in overlooked opportunities. They recognize value that others miss. Develop your value recognition skills by studying markets, assets, and opportunities extensively. The more you understand about value, the more opportunities you'll spot. Read about investing. Study business valuations. Learn what creates value in different contexts. Over time, you'll start seeing value arbitrage opportunities that others completely miss. The third strategy is called leverage stacking. This means combining multiple types of leverage to multiply your results. There are 4 types of leverage. You can stack labor leverage, using other people's time and skills. Capital leverage, using other people's money. Technology leverage, using tools and systems. Multiply output media leverage, using content and distribution that reaches many people. Most people use 0 or 1 type of leverage. They work alone with their own money and no systems. Their results are linear. Wealthy people stack multiple types of leverage. They have teams, they use investor capital, they build technology systems, they create media that reaches millions. Their results are exponential. Start thinking about how to add leverage to everything you do. Can you hire help? Can you use tools that multiply your output? Can you create systems that work without you? Can you build media that reaches more people? Each type of leverage you add multiplies your wealth-building capacity. The 4th strategy is called concentration, then diversification. Early in wealth building, wealthy people concentrate their resources. They focus on 1 or 2 high-potential opportunities and put most of their resources there. This creates rapid initial growth. Once they've built substantial wealth, they diversify to protect it. Most people do the opposite. They diversify too early when they have little to protect. They spread their limited resources across many opportunities and achieve mediocre results in all of them. Then later, when they should diversify, they remain concentrated in 1 or 2 things and create unnecessary risk. Follow the wealthy pattern. When you're building wealth, concentrate. Pick your highest leverage opportunity and put most of your resources there. Once you've built significant wealth, then diversify to protect it. Concentration builds wealth. Diversification protects wealth. Use each strategy at the right stage. The 5th strategy is called economic moat building. This means creating competitive advantages that make your income sources more secure and profitable over time. Wealthy people don't just create income sources. They build moats around them, barriers that prevent competition, advantages that compound over time. Brand reputation is a moat. The stronger your brand, the less price-sensitive customers become. Proprietary systems are a moat. The better your systems, the harder you are to replicate. Network effects are a moat. The more users or customers you have, the more valuable your offering becomes. Think about what moats you can build around your income sources. These 5 strategies accelerate wealth building dramatically. But they only work if you have the foundation in place, the right neural programming, the right mindset, the right daily practices. Build the foundation first, then apply these advanced strategies. That's how you create exponential wealth building. Chapter 9. The Money Intelligence Transformation Timeline. Let's talk about realistic timelines for transforming your money intelligence and seeing results, because understanding the timeline helps you stay motivated and persistent. Most people give up too early because they expect instant results. Wealthy people understand that real transformation takes time, but creates permanent change. The money intelligence transformation happens in 4 distinct phases over approximately 18 months. Each phase builds on the previous one. Each phase has specific milestones and indicators. Understanding these phases helps you track progress and stay committed when results aren't immediately visible. Phase 1 is awareness and disruption. This lasts the first 30 to 60 days. During this phase, you're becoming aware of your current money programming. You're noticing the patterns that have been running automatically. You're interrupting old behaviors before they complete. You're starting new practices. This phase feels awkward and uncomfortable. Old patterns are being disrupted, but new patterns aren't established yet. You're thinking consciously about things that used to be automatic. You're noticing how often your old programming tries to run. This is normal. This is progress. You're bringing unconscious patterns into conscious awareness so you can change them. Phase 1 indicators include increased awareness of financial decisions, discomfort with old patterns, irregular practice of new behaviors, and occasional resistance or self-sabotage. These are all signs you're in Phase 1 successfully. You're disrupting old programming. That's the first step. Phase 2 is integration and inconsistency. This lasts from month 2 through month 6. During this phase, you're practicing new behaviors regularly but inconsistently. Some days you do great. Other days you slide back into old patterns. You're building new neural pathways, but they're not strong enough yet to be automatic. This phase is frustrating because you know what you should do, but don't always do it. Your rational brain knows the new way, but your emotional brain still defaults to the old way. You're in transition. Old programming is weakening, but new programming isn't strong enough yet to override it consistently. Phase 2. Indicators include inconsistent practice, mixture of old and new behaviors, frustration with lack of consistency, and gradual reduction in frequency of old patterns. You're making progress even though it doesn't feel like it. Neural pathways are forming, they're just not dominant yet. Phase 3 is consolidation and consistency. This lasts from month 6 through month 12. During this phase, new behaviors become more consistent. New neural pathways are strong enough to compete with old pathways. You're still thinking consciously about financial decisions, but new patterns are becoming easier and more natural. This is when you start seeing real results. Your financial situation begins improving noticeably. You're saving more consistently, making better decisions, taking advantage of opportunities you would have missed before the new programming is taking hold. Phase 3 indicators include consistent practice of new behaviors, new patterns becoming easier, visible financial results, and occasional reversion to old patterns under stress. The old patterns aren't gone yet, but the new patterns are becoming dominant. You're winning more financial decisions than you're losing. Phase 4 is automation and mastery. This begins around month 12 and continues indefinitely. During this phase, new programming becomes automatic. You don't have to think consciously about wealth-building behaviors. Your brain defaults to them. The neural pathways are strong and efficient. Wealth building becomes natural. This is when wealth building accelerates dramatically. Your new programming is running automatically. You're making wealth-building decisions without effort. You're seeing opportunities everywhere. You're taking action consistently. Results compound rapidly. Phase 4 indicators include automatic wealth-building behaviors, natural decision-making aligned with wealth goals, accelerating financial results, and new patterns feeling normal while old patterns feel strange. You've successfully reprogrammed your money brain. Understanding this timeline is crucial. Most people try transformation for 30 or 60 days, don't see dramatic results, and quit. They're giving up right when neural changes are beginning. Real transformation takes 12 to 18 months of consistent practice, but once achieved, it's permanent. Your new programming becomes your default operating system. Commit to the full timeline. Track your progress through the phases. Celebrate each phase completion. Trust the process. Your brain is changing even when you can't see immediate financial results. The neural changes happen first. The financial results follow. Chapter 10. Your Money Intelligence Action Plan. Now let's create your specific action plan for transforming your money intelligence, because understanding concepts isn't enough. You need a clear, actionable plan that you can start implementing immediately. This is your roadmap from where you are now to complete money intelligence transformation. The action plan has 3 time horizons: the next 90 days, the next 12 months, the next 5 years. Each horizon has specific objectives and action steps. Let's start with your 90-day intensive transformation period. Your first 90-day objective is establishing the foundation. This means installing the daily practice, beginning thermostat reprogramming, and starting to strengthen your delayed gratification circuits. These are the core neural changes that make everything else possible. Action Step 1. Commit to the 30 to 40-minute daily money brain training routine. Every single day for 90 days. No exceptions. Schedule it like a doctor's appointment. Put it in your calendar. Protect this time fiercely. This is your most important activity for your financial future. Action Step 2. Start your wealth evidence journal and write in it daily. Record evidence of wealth-building behaviors, financial progress, abundance observed, and value created, minimum 5 entries per day. This rewires your perception from scarcity to abundance. Action Step 3. Practice delayed gratification at least 3 times per day. Every single day. Track your practices. Notice how they get easier. Notice how your relationship with immediate gratification changes. Action Step 4. Choose one area where you'll practice strategic deprivation for the full 90 days. Commit fully. Complete the 90 days without exception. This dramatically strengthens your delayed gratification circuits. Action Step 5. Read or listen to one wealth-building resource per week. Books, podcasts, courses. Focus on mindset and psychology, not just tactics. You're reprogramming your subconscious through exposure to wealth thinking. Your 12-month objective is achieving consistency and seeing results. This means your new programming is becoming dominant, your financial situation is measurably improving, and wealth-building behaviors are becoming natural. Action Step 1. Continue daily practice through month 12. By this point, it should be habitual. If you miss days, restart your 90-day commitment. Consistency is everything. Action Step 2. Add at least one new income stream by month 6 and another by month 12. Even small streams count. You're building income diversification and proving to yourself that multiple income paths exist. Action Step 3. Reduce your expense-to-income ratio by at least 10% by month 12, not by earning less, but by conscious spending cuts. Increase the gap between income and expenses. Action Step 4. Save and invest at least 20% of your income starting month 4. If that's not possible yet, start with 10% and increase 5% every 3 months. Build the saving and investing muscle. Action Step 5. Take at least one calculated risk that has asymmetric payoff potential. Start a side business, create a digital product, make an investment, learn from the experience regardless of outcome. Your 5-year objective is achieving wealth acceleration and financial freedom. This means multiple thriving income streams, substantial invested assets, expenses well below income, and complete psychological financial freedom. Action Step 1. Build to at least 5 different income streams by year 3 and 7 by year 5. Diversify across different categories: active and passive, business and investment, multiple sources. Action Step 2. Reach the point where passive income covers at least 50% of living expenses by year 5. This is the tipping point toward complete financial freedom. You're halfway there. Action Step 3. Build invested assets equal to at least 2 times your annual expenses by year 5. This gives you 2 years of financial runway, substantial security and options. Action Step 4. Maintain expense-to-income ratio below 50%. As income grows, resist lifestyle inflation. Keep expenses relatively stable, while income increases, widen the gap continuously. Action Step 5. Help at least 10 other people begin their money intelligence transformation. Teach what you've learned. Mentor others. Share your journey. Teaching reinforces your own programming and creates positive ripple effects. This action plan is ambitious but achievable. It requires commitment and consistency, but it works. Follow this plan, and your financial life will be completely transformed within 5 years, not through get-rich, quick schemes, through systematic neural reprogramming that creates wealth building as your automatic default. Chapter 11. Common obstacles and how to overcome them. Let's address the common obstacles you'll face during your money intelligence transformation, because knowing what obstacles to expect and how to handle them dramatically increases your success probability. Most people quit when they hit obstacles because they interpret them as failure. Wealthy people expect obstacles and have strategies for overcoming them. Obstacle 1 is initial skepticism. Your current programming will resist change. When you start practicing new money behaviors, a voice in your head will say this won't work, this is pointless, nothing's changing. This is normal. This is your old programming defending itself. Neural pathways don't want to be replaced. They fight back. Overcome this by remembering that skepticism is just old programming talking. It's not truth, it's resistance. Every time you hear skeptical thoughts, recognize them for what they are. Old neural pathways fighting to survive. Don't argue with them. Don't try to convince yourself. Just acknowledge them and continue your new practices anyway. Consistency beats skepticism. New neural pathways will replace old ones through use, not through intellectual argument. Obstacle 2 is inconsistency. You'll start strong, then miss a few days of practice, then feel discouraged, and consider quitting. This is normal. Habit formation isn't linear. Everyone experiences inconsistency. The difference between people who succeed and people who fail is how they respond to inconsistency. Overcome this by having a recovery protocol. When you miss days of practice, don't judge yourself. Don't declare failure. Simply restart immediately. Treat it like resetting a counter. You missed 3 days, that's fine. Start a new 90-day commitment right now. Inconsistency only becomes failure if you quit. As long as you keep restarting, you're succeeding. Obstacle 3 is delayed results. You'll practice consistently for weeks or months without seeing obvious financial results. Your bank account won't instantly fill. Your income won't immediately double. You'll question whether the practices are working. This is normal. Neural changes happen before financial results. You're building the foundation that creates results. Overcome this by tracking process metrics instead of only outcome metrics. Don't just measure your bank account. Measure your daily practices. How many days in a row did you complete your training routine? How many delayed gratification practices did you do? How many wealth evidence entries did you record? These process metrics prove you're making progress, even when financial results aren't visible yet. Obstacle 4 is social pressure. People around you may not understand or support your transformation. They may question your new behaviors, make fun of your practices, try to pull you back to old patterns. This is especially true if your current social circle has low financial thermostats. Your growth threatens their justifications for staying stuck. Overcome this by finding your wealth-building tribe. Join online communities of people working on money mindset. Find mentors who've achieved what you want. Attend events where wealth builders gather. You don't have to abandon old friends, but you do need to add new relationships with people who support your growth. Social support dramatically increases transformation success rates. Obstacle 5 is unexpected financial setbacks. During your transformation, you'll likely experience financial challenges, unexpected expenses, income disruptions, investment losses. These setbacks can feel like evidence that transformation isn't working, like you're cursed to always struggle financially. This is normal. Life includes setbacks. They're not signs of failure. Overcome this by reframing setbacks as opportunities to practice your new programming. How does abundant you respond to this challenge? What solutions can you generate? What can you learn? Financial setbacks are actually perfect opportunities to prove to yourself that your new programming works. Handle them from your new programming instead of your old programming. Each setback you handle well strengthens your transformation. Obstacle 6 is old money scripts resurfacing under stress. You'll handle situations well when calm, then revert to old patterns when stressed, tired, or emotional. You'll make an impulsive purchase, skip investing, make a fear-based decision. This is normal. Old programming is most powerful under stress. New programming takes longer to become stress-proof. Overcome this by planning for stress in advance. Create decision rules you follow regardless of emotional state. I always invest 20% first. I always wait 24 hours before unplanned purchases. I always consult my wealth-building identity before major financial decisions. These rules protect you when emotional brain tries to take over. Obstacle 7 is perfectionism and all-or-nothing thinking. You'll have days where you don't do the practices perfectly, where you slide back into old patterns, where you make mistakes. Perfectionism tells you that if you can't do it perfectly, you should quit entirely. This is old programming trying to sabotage your transformation. Overcome this by embracing progress over perfection. Transformation isn't about being perfect. It's about being better than yesterday. Each day you practice, even imperfectly, you're building new neural pathways. Each day you continue, even after mistakes, you're proving commitment. Perfect practice isn't required. Consistent, imperfect practice creates transformation. These 7 obstacles are predictable. Everyone faces them. The difference between success and failure is preparation and response. Expect these obstacles. Plan your response in advance. When they appear, you'll recognize them and handle them strategically instead of being derailed by them. Chapter 12. Your wealthy future starts now. You now possess something extraordinary, complete understanding of how money intelligence works, why your current programming creates your current results, how wealthy people's brains are wired differently, what specific neural circuits need to be strengthened, what beliefs need to be installed, what practices create transformation, what obstacles to expect, and how to overcome them. But knowledge without action remains just interesting information. The difference between people who transform their financial lives and people who stay stuck is simple implementation. Everything you've learned means nothing unless you commit to applying it consistently starting today. This is your moment of decision. You can close this audiobook and return to your old patterns. Your old neural programming will happily continue running, creating the same financial results you've always gotten, keeping you stuck in the same financial situation year after year. Nothing will change. That's the easy path. Or you can decide right now that your financial life transforms starting today, that you commit to the 90-day intensive foundation building period, that you'll practice the daily training routine regardless of skepticism or difficulty, that you'll persist through obstacles instead of quitting, that you'll give neural reprogramming enough time to work. That's the hard path. But it's the only path that creates transformation. Let me be clear about what you're committing to. This isn't a quick fix. This isn't a magic pill. This is 18 months of consistent daily practice to completely rewire your money brain 30 to 40 minutes per day, every day, for 18 months. Many days you won't feel like it. Many days you'll want to quit. Many days you'll doubt it's working. You'll persist anyway. This is hard. But consider the alternative. If you don't transform your money intelligence, where will you be in 5 years? Probably in the same financial situation you're in now. Maybe worse if inflation and expenses continue rising while your income stays flat. Still stressed about money, still living paycheck to paycheck, still feeling trapped by financial limitations, still wishing things were different, but not changing the programming that creates those results. Now consider what's possible if you commit fully. Where could you be in 5 years with completely transformed money intelligence, multiple income streams, substantial invested assets, passive income covering significant portion of expenses, wealth building happening automatically because your brain is wired for it, financial freedom, financial peace, financial options, a completely different life? The difference between these two futures is the decision you make right now, and the consistent action you take based on that decision over the next 18 months. Let me tell you what will happen when you commit fully. The first month will be awkward. You'll feel self-conscious about the practices. You'll doubt whether they're working. Your old programming will resist loudly. This is normal. This is phase 1. Keep practicing. Month 2 through 6 will be inconsistent. Some days you'll do great. Other days you'll revert to old patterns. You'll get frustrated with yourself. You'll want to quit. This is normal. This is phase 2. Keep practicing. Month 6 through 12 will be when things start clicking, new behaviors becoming easier, new patterns becoming natural, financial results becoming visible. This is phase 3. This is when you start believing transformation is real. Keep practicing. Month 12 through 18 will be acceleration. Wealth building becomes automatic. Financial results compound rapidly. You start seeing yourself as a wealth builder, not at the intellectual level, but at the identity level. This is phase 4. This is when you realize your money brain has been permanently rewired. After 18 months, you won't need to consciously practice anymore. Your new programming will be automatic. Wealth building will be natural. You'll look back at who you were and barely recognize that person. You'll wonder why you didn't make this commitment years ago, but you'll be grateful you made it when you did. This is what's possible. This is what awaits you on the other side of commitment and consistent practice. A completely transformed relationship with money. A completely different financial reality. A brain wired for wealth instead of struggle. But it requires decision, right now. Are you in? Are you committing to the full transformation? Are you willing to do whatever it takes for 18 months to completely rewire your money brain? If yes, take action immediately. Before you finish this audiobook, before you move on to the next thing, take the first action. Open your calendar and schedule your daily practice time for the next 90 days. Buy a journal for your wealth evidence collection. Write down your wealth builder identity statement. Tell someone you trust about your commitment. Take action while motivation is high, because motivation fades. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. And discipline is built through immediate action. Don't wait. Don't plan to start tomorrow. Don't tell yourself you'll begin next week. Start right now. Take the first action immediately. Your money intelligence transformation begins with one decision, followed by one action, followed by consistent daily practice. That's it. It's simple, but not easy. Most people won't do it. Most people will listen to this audiobook, feel inspired for a moment, then return to old patterns without ever implementing anything. They'll stay stuck financially while knowing exactly how to escape. This is tragic but common. You're different. You wouldn't have listened this far if you weren't serious about change. You wouldn't have absorbed all this information if you weren't ready for transformation. You're one of the few who actually implements instead of just consuming information. Prove it by taking action right now. The world needs more people with transformed money intelligence, people who build wealth through value creation, people who think abundantly instead of scarcely, people who make strategic decisions instead of fear-based decisions, people who handle money consciously and intentionally, people who teach others what's possible. You can be one of those people. Your transformation starts now. Your wealthy future begins today. Your new money brain is waiting to be built. The question is, will you build it? Everything you want financially is on the other side of 18 months of consistent practice. Financial freedom, financial peace, financial options. Wealth that grows automatically because your brain is wired to create it. This isn't a dream. This isn't fantasy. This is the predictable result of neural reprogramming applied consistently. Commit now. Start now. Transform now. Your future wealthy self is watching this moment. They're hoping you make the right decision. They're hoping you commit. They're hoping you persist, because everything they enjoy in their life depends on what you decide and do right now. Make them proud. Make yourself proud. Choose transformation. Commit to the practice. Build your wealth brain. Create your financial freedom. Become the wealth builder you're capable of being. Your money intelligence transformation starts now.